Hi, welcome back to Meraki Unboxed. My name is Simon Thompson, host of the show, and it is really great to have you with us on this podcast. We are now into the mid 60s in terms of numbers of episodes of the podcast, so loads of great material. Always encourage you to go back and check out the archive and see what we have done in the past. But of course, today we have something new to talk about. And our focus today in today's episode is going to be around the experiences that we can bring to life with Meraki technology and technology more broadly. So really excited to get into this conversation. Before we do that, I just want to remind you that obviously this podcast is, as I said, racking up good numbers at this point in time. And we do launch this every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks on a Wednesday, there's a new episode comes out. And so if you're not subscribed already, just hit that subscribe button in your favorite podcasting tool. And then, of course, you'll get notified when we get those new episodes out. I'm sure you know the routine very well by now. So without further ado, let's get into the conversation. And as I said, we're really wanting to focus today on how we can use our technology to help improve some real world experiences that people are having. And that's really the thrust of this, and it's the beginning of a series that we're actually doing around the experiences we offer with Cisco Meraki technology, of course, by ourselves, but also, very importantly, in collaboration with our technology partners. And it is, in fact, a technology partner joining us today to help us with that conversation. So to introduce our guests on the panel today, I'd like to start with Zack Klima from WaitTime, CEO at WaitTime. Hi, Zack. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. How is everyone doing today? Thanks for having me.
We're doing all right. And you are calling in from where?
I am calling in from Detroit, Michigan, just outside the city.
Wow. So a bit of a way away. And we also have Pravin from Cisco Meraki. Hi, Pravin. How are you doing today?
Doing very well, Simon. Thank you.
Quite well. And where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from the beautiful, sunny Bay Area.
I'm also in the Bay Area, not that sunny where I am, so it just shows how the microclimates work around here. We're grateful for any sunshine we can get at this time of year. Right, now we've done the weather forecast, let's move on to some proper introductions. Zack, I'd love it if you could just give our audience an introduction to who you are and what you do, what's your organization, and maybe some background around how that came into being.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Zack Klima. I'm the founder and CEO of WaitTime. And I started WaitTime about 7 years ago, just actually in the city of Detroit. I had recently graduated with a master's degree in architecture. That's building architecture. Wow. And yeah, it's kind of an interesting career change, but it actually plays nicely into what we do today. So really the way I started the company was I was at a sporting event, and it was the Detroit Red Wings. And I left my seat in the middle of an overtime, and I went to go grab popcorn or beer, one of those things. And I missed a game-winning goal as I was standing in line. And I thought to myself, wow, what a waste of all the money I spent, post grad school, which was not a lot, on all these tickets. What a kind of a subpar experience to just, finish up the end of this exhilarating game standing in line. So I thought to myself, I go, how great would it be? And I knew I was speaking for the rest of the world. How great would it be if, as a fan going to a live event, if you were able to know how long the lines were in real time before you left your seat? And I think that everyone can probably agree that knowing what the wait time was and what the wait time is going to elevate your fan experience, your guest experience dramatically, because I don't think anyone likes to wait in line.
Right.
So that was the inception moment where I said, wow, this is a really good idea. This has to be done already. Right. And so I did a lot of market research. I did a lot of competitive analysis, and I realized that in sports, which is where WaitTime was birthed out of, this was a completely wide open canvas that really needed to be painted. So at that point in time, that was the inception of WaitTime. And right around 5 months later, I actually I made the jump to jump right in. I was 26 years old, 25, 26, and I linked up with some pretty powerful people, and one thing led to another, and that was the inception of WaitTime, stemming from that moment at the hockey arena.
I absolutely love hearing founders' stories because they are never dull. It's always there's always a good reason how this came about and the pivots that people have made. It's always super interesting to hear. So thanks for sharing that with us. We would definitely come back to some of the kind of WaitTime products and get into that in a little bit more detail in a few moments. I just want to bring Pravin in quickly as well. Pravin, maybe give us a quick introduction to yourself, what you do at Cisco Meraki as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Simon, and happy to be here. So I'm responsible here at Meraki for the platform, the ecosystem, and the solutions marketing team. That's a pretty wide swath of functions that we cover here. Mm-hmm. And a bit about my background, I've been working across the Bay Area in Silicon Valley, but also across Asia. That's where I started my career in the cloud and the telecom world, and then kind of moved into the cloud and the enterprise market. My career really started in sales, being close to the customers, and as Zack was relaying, you get to hear about the pain points right up front. You get to live them, as Zack lived it in his experience there. Yeah. And also, you mentioned about pivot, Simon. I did pivot from sales to marketing, and in one of my initial stints, we had many campaigns, and one of them was to entice developers onto Cisco, and that led to creating an out-of-the-box campaign. We created a SimCity-like gaming experience. There you go, gaming again, for developers, and that was just an idea on a whiteboard, which became a major campaign asset for Cisco. It was called My Planet, and it ultimately won one of the top B2B marketing awards in that year, something we had absolutely not foreseen. So that was very interesting, and I've been living the marketing dream now for a decade or so. So again, happy to be here, happy to talk about experiences and how we make them real for our customers.
Yeah, and that's obviously the main thrust today. But thank you for sharing the story, because again, there's always little pivots and moments in time where things don't go out quite the way that we expected, or they sort of take us on a new path. I think that's pretty exciting stuff. What I'd love to do, Pravin, we'll definitely bring you back in to give us a little bit more context around experiences. Before we do that, I'd like to bring Zack back and just really get back into WaitTime again and just dive in a little bit more deeply, Zack, on sort of the WaitTime concept. And you started with that with your own experiences, of course, but how did that evolve into real products, and where does Meraki fit into the picture?
Yeah, absolutely. So that was the initial idea, and where WaitTime started in terms of where my mind was to fast forward 7 years until now. We kept the core focus of the experiential aspect of it, but there's so many different legs, and there's so many different offshoots in which we evolved the product. So at this time in the market, we have the only patented artificial intelligence building system technology all around crowd management. And so what we do, if it's okay if I give a little bit of a description, what we do is we mount cameras, Meraki cameras, directly above anywhere where there's a line. So if you think of sporting events, you think of concession lines, restroom lines, retail lines, or anywhere where there's crowds of people. And what our technology does is, powered by the Meraki cameras, our patented algorithms, we can track anonymously, of course, the movement analysis of people in real time down to the inches per second.
Whoa.
So what our technology does is our artificial intelligence locks onto the individual from above, anonymously, of course, and we're tracking the actual human body. So we're not tracking Bluetooth, cell phones, or Wi-Fi, because that's all very inaccurate with our experiences and with a lot of customer experiences of tracking what individuals are doing. Mm-hmm. So we actually track the human body 25 times per second. So we know in those areas that I mentioned, like concessions and restrooms and retail, we know how fast they're moving, in which direction they're moving, and all this is being done at that 25 times per second. So we know that you have this space, this space, whether it be a line, whether a line in concessions or restrooms, but how that space, that designated space, is performing in real time. So, there's really two sides of our business on the operations side. So all this information of how we're tracking these individual areas across the venue is then being fed to operations. So if it hits a certain number of people in line, notify our operations staff. If it hits a certain capacity of an area, notify my operations staff. So from an operational standpoint, they're able to have a very accurate and real-time line of sight into what's happening as that event unfolds in their venue in real time. Because we were always addressing this white elephant in the room of, you need to know crowd intelligence, you need to manage your crowds, you need to know what people are doing. And, once the pandemic hit, it was really interesting because it really augmented the value of what we were addressing for 5 years prior to the pandemic, from a nice to have to a need to have. Crowd management and crowd intelligence is at the utmost priority right now. And, and Meraki fits into this because they have the best camera in the world. So with our patented solution and their, best product in the world, it was really a match made in heaven when it comes to how Meraki fits into the WaitTime story.
Yeah, I love that. Again, we keep using this word pivot, but again, it applies in the case of your own sort of business's experience. And before we came on and started recording, I was having a look on your website and I saw the demos of, being able to decide which hot dog stand to go to, or which concession stand to go to get the best queue times, and same for maybe catching a cab after the event is finished as well. I guess that's what you mean by the nice to have stuff, right?
Correct. Yeah, and that's actually the other side of our business is the guest experience side. So the way that we position WaitTime and Meraki is experience. So it's all about the experience of the space, right? And so, at the end of the day, we're not selling products, we're selling business solutions and experiences. So you're exactly right. When a fan leaves their seat, we always thought, going back to my inception story, how great would it know as a fan to know where the shortest lines are? So as the fan walks out from their seat, they can glance up at very large digital screens that show to the right and to the left concessions and restrooms, and how long the wait times are in this green, yellow, red spectrum bar, similar to a stoplight methodology. That's all being fed from our back end algorithms, which we have 4 of them. So what we've done here is we've created a first in the world interior and exterior environment traffic system for people. So we're able to know right around the corner the line is open, or maybe I should walk two sections over for a better experience, because you now have that line of sight into something that you've never had before, in terms of knowing where the shortest queues are in real time.
And we'll get back to that as well, of course. I think it's already starting to happen in many places, so we can definitely see that coming back. But as you said earlier, I think the pivot and to understanding how to get people back into these stadia, by making it feel as safe as possible. That's where the technology can really help right now. And I love the fact that you started talking about the experiences as well, which gives me the perfect opportunity to bring Pravin back in. And Pravin, maybe you could give us some context around this. We know Meraki did introduce this concept of experiences and really sort of use that as the focus for our outreach and marketing efforts. So maybe just walk us through that in a bit more detail and give us a broader sense.
Absolutely. So we've been talking about outcomes, business solutions outcomes, quite a bit for a really long time, but it really came to the fore as the pandemic kind of hit, and things which were nice to have became must-haves. We recently refreshed our identity, the messaging, and the positioning as our customer traction itself started growing. And the reasons to do so were primarily twofold. The first is Meraki as a business We've been evolving from a bottom-up, product-led kind of growth to an all-around enterprise-led go-to-market outcome or oriented with an outcome orientation. And the second, within marketing, we moved from an inside-out view to an outside-in view. And we were talking with a lot of customers, with a lot of partners, and we honed in on experiences. What is an experience? Very simply, it is the application of technologies to one or multiple touch points. And those touch points could be people, places, things. And the technologies that Meraki offers, they span three areas: connectivity, security, and intelligence. As Zack was pointing out, some of the technologies that his platform relies on, the MV camera, it's the best in breed, but it's an enabler to an outcome. It's an intelligent sensor. The camera is basically acting as a sensor, feeding in to the Meraki platform, and from there on to the crowd intelligence platform that WaitTime has. That was the connection which we within Meraki saw very clearly as we went across talking with customers and partners, and we had this new message, this new look, and this new brand all unveiled just a couple of months ago. But what's the same is our intuitive, faster, smarter IT for our customers. That's absolutely not changed at all. So that's where we are with experiences. There are really two types of experiences: the workforce and the workspace. And within each of them, there are two kind of sub-experiences. And we saw some very real examples from Zack on how the workspace can be made smart and safe as well. And of course, the workforce now today is remote and hybrid. So Simon, back to you.
Yeah, and that's I think really what's interesting is the change in the workforce, and we all know about this. We read it in the media every single day. That there are just fewer people working in the physical offices than there were before, and the workforce changes are definitely they are changing and evolving. So what are some of those experiences that actually do touch the workforce that we can bring into this conversation?
So, I'll just start here and love to bring in Zack. We are recording this podcast with three different geographic areas. My den has become the office for the past 18 months. And the workforce itself is today both remote and hybrid. And this is something that every organization is dealing with. And the workspace as well. It is more smart now. It's become a must-have, it's just not something which is an add-on. The intelligence capabilities, and also it needs to be safe. Those are the additional two experiences to consider. Zack, what's your view on hybrid and remote work in your company?
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the number one goal for any organization in terms of return to work is safety, right? And so, that's where, we see a great opportunity to really help bring people back safely when it comes to our joint solution together. Because, we talked about sports and entertainment. If you think about bringing fans back into the building, that's really talking about bringing people back to work, because fans equals the business for sports and live events and entertainment. So the way that we view this is we can really assist with the coming back to actual physical office buildings, whether it be an arena, a stadium, a corporate office environment. And so the way that we view that is, we can play a very large role in that. So the way that we view it is, in terms of, you talked about the workplace and the workforce, I think they can talk simultaneously and work simultaneously with each other to really create the most efficient and safe experience. Is you have four walls of a building, right? And we actually do work with a lot of designers and architects because of this reason. You have four walls of a building. Okay, that's great. What is the efficiency and what is happening on the inside of those walls? What's the performance from day to day of those four walls? Right now, there's minimal things that you can do to really monitor what's happening. But with our joint solution together, we can have those four walls. Great. Now we can monitor what's happening inside those four walls to create the most safe experience to bring people back to work. So that's how we view it. Is, we can play a very large role in it. We want people to come back. Obviously, there's going to be a hybrid approach, but we want people to come back. We want people to feel safe, and we want the people who are running those buildings to provide that safe experience to the patrons that are occupying the space. So I could go on for about 9 days about that, but that's really our view on it is the role that we can play in terms of providing that safe return to physical spaces.
Yeah, and those physical spaces as well, Zach. I mean, you've alluded to this a little bit, but it's more than just the stadia that we talked about earlier on, and it's even more than just office buildings as well. Just walk us through these different scenarios that you've already seen opportunity for, or even deployed to with your own solutions.
Yeah, so I'll start off in sports entertainment. So we actually just announced a deal with Meraki, Cisco, and WaitTime with the Los Angeles Dodgers, which of course they're in the playoffs right now. It's an exciting brand, and it's interesting. It took about 4 years to do, and so when it comes to the Dodgers, what they're using our technology for is for knowing what's happening. So what they're doing is they're monitoring different areas of interest across their stadium. So whether it be a new bar or general admission seating for left field, to different areas across their venue. And the way that they view WaitTime is really interesting, because they were on assumptions before as opposed to science.
Right.
And what I mean by that is they were assuming how spaces were being interacted with, and they were like, well, I think that this is happening. But once they put up WaitTime and they started to really ingest our data that we're producing, it is really interesting, because they're using this information to understand the impact of various points of interest. And that information allows them to not only think about long-term revenue strategies, but also understand how people better engage with those areas of interest that are most impactful to them specifically. So with sports, that's one aspect. But what it did in terms of the pandemic and coming back from the pandemic is large venues. So you think about shopping malls. So we're working a deal right now with Mall of America in Minneapolis, which of course is the biggest mall in America. And their big focus is, monitoring the occupancy strategy for reopening their mall and staying reopened. So we use our algorithms over their entrances to their mall. So we were tracking how many people are coming in and out of the mall in real time for all their entrances. So they know at any point in time with a very high degree of accuracy how many people are in their mall, which of course they can report back to governing authorities when it comes to capacity standards that are being rewritten for different large venues. And that's just the entry point for a retail space. Mm-hmm. And then lastly, to your question, is convention centers and exhibition centers. So we have a very large one out in the UK called the National Exhibition Center. And so what this one is it's an amazing. It's about a 2.5 million square foot facility, and they are doing the same thing when it comes to tracking how many people are entering and exiting certain environments. There are different cafes, so areas of interest that garner crowds of people. They want to monitor those so they can react proactively as opposed to reactively, because our information is real time. Then also the occupancy strategies of return to opening the venue and staying open.
Right.
So those are three really good examples in 3 different verticals where our joint solution with Meraki and WaitTime is so applicable, because crowd management and crowd intelligence can mean different things for different verticals, but it's just a different application of our joint solution together.
Yeah, that sums it up very well, I think, and it really brings me back to wanting to sort of broaden this out a little bit. Pravin, I want to bring you back in again, just to talk a little bit more about this sort of the currency, if you like, that we're using today of workforces and workspaces, and how customers are using the platform and technology from Cisco Meraki and technology generally, just to help make those as powerful as possible.
Absolutely. I mean, Zack, gave some great live examples across those three different verticals, and it expands to across the entire spectrum. Over the last several years, it's become amply clear that companies and organizations that know how to unlock the power of data, they always exceed expectations. And as we saw with Dodgers, going from an assumptions to a more scientific view, and then that led to a more effective outcome. All that's based on technologies, and those technologies, there's a layer of technologies working together in harmony to produce that outcome. At the foundation is the Meraki platform. That connects the networking, the security, the IoT, all those different devices. And through those devices, today collectively, we are touching over 20 billion touch points every single week. Our API call rates, they are one of the highest in the industry. That's really one of the largest data sets available in the industry. Now, while having this large amount of data can be very valuable, it's more important to know how it can be managed, and the insights and using them effectively is another story altogether. Now, we at Meraki apply the right tool, whether it is it's a deterministic tool, or whether it's a machine learning based stochastic or a probabilistic tool to yield the right outcome. Just for example, object detection, that works best using deep learning, neural network kind of principles. Likewise, for detecting wireless connection failures, regression techniques, they are the best technology to do that. Now, all our customers are using these outcomes today using the platform dashboard. And as we saw those across the three verticals, this is applicable across others as well. Manufacturing, financial, education as well. So that's where it's broadly applicable with those foundation of technologies, starting with the Meraki platform, then those sensors, and then our ecosystem partners. I'll just add one other point here. I firmly believe that one of Meraki's two superpowers is the ecosystem, and the vast developer community, the app partners, WaitTime being one of them, build on top of this open API first, cloud first platform. We have nearly 10 million Meraki devices today, 3 million active networks. That's huge, and that's all a testament to customers realizing the benefit and realizing the outcomes that they seek to get. And in case you're wondering what the other superpower is, that's really scale. And yes, while we are talking about scale, we are growing as well. And if you do want to look at careers, head over to Meraki job site. We continue to grow, and with the platform as the foundation. Simon,
I like the way you subtly snuck that plug in there, Pravin. But yeah, scale. I mean, and it's a testament to how I think we've been able to bring some of these technological capabilities into a platform which other people, or anybody really who's starting out, who has some basic understanding of networking technologies and sort of people technologies, you can log into the Meraki dashboard and you can see the basics. You can see what kind of thing it can do. But it's then, of course, the technology partners who take that base capability, use those APIs, and really start to sort of apply it in a more refined way to specific use cases. So I've always thought this is really a win-win. I'm biased, of course, but hopefully Zack agrees. But Zack, I do want to bring you back in again to talk about that a little bit. Some of those sort of AI technologies, some of the stuff that Pravin was talking about in abstract there. Maybe just remind us again. I mean, you mentioned this earlier, but I think what else can you tell us about the AI and the machine learning side of things, and how it's really helped your business grow? and what it's just like working with the platform more generally with the APIs.
Yeah, no, it's very powerful because when we first started out, it was, we were in a silo by ourselves, right? It was WaitTime and WaitTime. And so, which was great. We got we made a little splash in the media, which was fine, but it's really about the ecosystem. As Pravin, you talked about, and Simon yourself as well. The ecosystem is so strong, and when it comes to Meraki. So joining forces, we were using cameras before. Cameras are a part of our solution, but if we could tell a joint story together and sell business solutions and outcomes, and not just products, but an actual partnership. People talk about partnerships all the time. An actual partnership is so key. And so when it came to leveraging, what Meraki's doing, they injected steroids into our product. I mean, it's really what happened. With different APIs and different different evolutions of our product that we would never be able to get to without Meraki. So the power of the ecosystem is so relevant and such a game changer for companies like myself. And granted, we're a small company, but partnerships make us seem so much bigger. And really, the partnership with Meraki is so perfect. It's hand in glove because they allow us to evolve our system, to have us think about things that we haven't thought about, because we don't know everything, obviously, and to have us think about things we haven't thought about, and to really enter into this harmonic actual partnership. So I would say that from the Meraki dashboard to us leveraging the Meraki RTSP feed to different camera models like the MV12 and the MV22s and 72s, etc. We're able to get deals off the ground faster, convert them quicker, and to add more value with what we're already doing. So it's really, I go back to answer your question, I go back to the ecosystem. The power of the ecosystem is so such a game changer for us, but not just us. If we have a problem that we can't solve with our technology with Meraki, we can just go right to the ecosystem and say, hey, this is a great fit for ecosystem partner X, Y, or Z. So it's really not about the product, the ecosystem of the product, injecting steroids into our product, but the ecosystem of solving problems with a client that we might be talking to that has a problem that we can't solve. We pull in the ecosystem as well. So we see it as one big happy family, where we all work together, harmoniously, to use that word again, but it actually just sounds nice to say. Not just injecting steroids into our products. So that's really the way that I look at it personally.
Yeah, I love that, and I think I'm picturing as you were going through that, this sort of virtuous circle scenario where as you alluded to, you guys at WaitTime have been able to pick up some ideas and really expand your own thinking around your solutions there. And I have no doubt as well that at Meraki, working together with all these technology partners, we've also seen opportunities where we can build better and sort of evolve our own product line to better help support and move on to the next stage with all of this. So it's hard to imagine this because you think about business being sort of highly competitive and sort of dog eat dog, but really I do think that we have something here where we can actually all grow together and all find our niche to really evolve the experiences that our customers are having, and that's of course why we're here in the first place. That's the sort of primary motivation, I think, for all of us at some level. So let's see. Let's think about moving towards a conclusion here. I want to think about some of the ways in which people can learn more about WaitTime. So Zack, tell us how we can go and learn a little bit more and see some of this stuff with our eyes as opposed to just the audio description.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are on the Meraki marketplace, obviously. So I can give a link for that. On the Meraki marketplace, or if you just go to the Meraki marketplace and search WaitTime, you'll be able to see all the videos of our artificial intelligence, because it's so compelling to watch. People talk about AI all the time, but if you can see it for your own eyes and to listen to a voiceover description of what you're looking at, it is so impactful, which is all found on the Meraki Marketplace under WaitTime. And so I would say that to go to the Meraki Marketplace, search WaitTime. A link to our website's there as well if you want to get deeper with it. And then obviously there's a contact button. So if you want to contact me, I'm easily accessible to anyone. So please, feel free to reach out, but I would divert to Meraki's website on the Marketplace.
Super awesome. And we will also put a link in the description for this podcast episode as well. So you can just click directly to get into WaitTime and learn a little bit more about some of the things we've touched on today. Pravin, maybe just passing it over to you for some final thoughts around the experiences and this theme that we're sort of focusing some of our podcast episodes on now. This was the first in a series. So just give us that broader sense of what we're here to talk about and what's next.
Yeah, just a quick catch up on experiences that we introduced at Meraki. We have kind of two meta experiences, the workforce and the workspace. And within workforce, it is hybrid and remote, and within workspace, safe and smart. That entire construct, if you'd want to dive deeper, head over to meraki.net, and you can get the experiences guide that illustrates all of this very well, and also can then starts connecting into the customer use cases and the applicable products. I know you have, Simon, you have a follow-on podcast planned for the workforce. Mm-hmm. And just one of the quips that I had heard over the past few months, somebody said this, the key thing that we're trying to do in this hybrid and remote world is how do you VPN into the office culture? And I'm hoping nice. That we can talk about it in one of the subsequent workforce experience themed podcasts. So yeah, stay tuned for that one from Simon. One other plug for the platform. You can see that in action, the dashboard, via an instant demo. If you'd like to try any of the Meraki gear, the first 2 weeks are free on us. Again, all the details on the website. So yeah, look over at meraki.net. Lots of stuff to get. And Simon, back to you.
Okay, well, I want to thank both of you for taking the time out to join us in this conversation today. I love hearing about how this technology gets used in the real world. That's where it gets exciting for me. That's where I get my kicks. And I hope the audience, I hope you listening as well, you feel the same thing, which is, we like to nerd out on the technology. We like to get into the bits and bytes, but at the end of the day, it's what the hell are you using this for? What is this actually going to be doing to change experiences for people? So that's why we want to bring guests like Zack onto the podcast and sort of get those elaborated, and we'll certainly be doing plenty more of that in the future. So Zack, once again, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Zack. Thanks, Simon.
Yeah, so we'll wrap it up now. And, if you've been inspired by this, then I would say, as you've heard during the course of the conversation, get onto our website and you will find this marketplace that we've been talking about at meraki.io. And you can see, what has been built up till now, which of course includes WaitTime, but also how you can make your own solutions with the Meraki API. So go and have a look there and get yourself educated. We'll be back here on the podcast in a couple of weeks. If you're interested in participating either with an idea or actually starring on the podcast yourself, we'd love to have you involved. You can reach out to me on Twitter. My handle there is @MerakiSimon, one word. Easy to find, and that will definitely reach me. So let me know what you think. Give us some feedback, and we would love to have you on here if you would like. Otherwise, if you're just a listener, please do come back again. Subscribe to the podcast. It's awesome to have you. Of course, you are the reason why we're doing this. So we will be back in a couple of weeks. Stay safe, stay well, and we will see you then soon. Bye-bye for now.